So Steve, do you want to, I didn't tell him I was going to do this. You want to come up and say what you do in the, what is it that you do?
All right. Well, yes. Hi, I'm Steve Pincus. And I guess one of the things I'll kind of humorous say to anybody who's emailed the LRBAA mailbox in probably the last few years, that's me. That's me responding pretty much, but yes. So, but no, I am support for the, I guess you could call it the process side of the LRBAA and on Dusty's team. So that's, yeah, basically the gist of it. That's, I think, the best way to kind of put it out there. So, and I guess we do have a phone number and I am the voicemail guy too. So.
It is no longer a completely thankless task. So thank you for applauding. And Steve also is the one that reaches out to the folks that are on the evaluation panels. There's a lot going on. Resources are tight as always, and he helps to make sure that this stays, on the top of their list of things to do. And he's apparently really good at it, because I can't tell you how many times I'll be talking to them, and I think, Carl, you've done it. It's like, Steve is so great. And it's like, Steve can nag people and they are thanking him. That's amazing. So we're going to have him give a class on how to ping people.
I come from Michigan. I don't know if that's what it is, but
something in the water.
Yeah, something in the water around the Great Lakes. Yeah.
All right. So thanks for joining me up here, Steve. So here's a little bit more details than we provided earlier on the process. So am I doing this one or are you doing this one? Okay. All right. So we mentioned it was a 3-step process. The initial submission is going to be a 3-page white paper, a quad chart, an optional short video. That video does have to be non-proprietary, and it has to be a YouTube link, because we want to make sure that it's non-proprietary and it's not something that we cannot be able to view. And that video, the optional part is either sometimes it's not something that is demonstratable yet, or it's not great for video format, so it's not a requirement. But if it's something you think would help to enhance the submission, you can include that. And the goal for that is that we would provide a response within 10 days. That's the goal, and some are shorter and some are longer. And the result is going to be a recommendation as to whether to go forward to the virtual pitch or not. If you are recommended to go forward to the virtual pitch, you'll have an opportunity to develop 12 slides, and you'll be given 20 minutes to brief a panel of folks to talk more in depth about your idea. They will have a period of time where they can kind of confer and then come back and ask you questions. They cannot say, we think you should do this instead. You cannot ask them, should we do this instead? But savvy folks will pay attention to the questions that are being asked and understand that this is potentially areas where there's some pain points or some things that may be able to be addressed by the technology. There's okay, can it do this? And so then from there, you will either get a recommend or not recommend to the written proposal. And that's when, like I said earlier, it would be a full proposal. How many pages is it?
It's 25 pages for the tech proposal and no page limit on the cost.
Yes. See, details. This is why we're a team. So yeah, so that's, like I said, if you're getting to that point, then it's something that we are anticipating there's a level of interest in. So just as a heads up, we can put a hold on the process at the virtual pitch. There's several reasons for this. As Rosanna talked about earlier, sometimes some money will free up. So something may come in and we're like, wow, this is interesting. And we may be interested in trying to find some funding. We don't have any right now, but maybe if we reached out to the component, they may go, oh, this is, important enough. And that sounds interesting enough that we may be able to come up off some money. We don't want to do that. We don't want to have to do a proposal and then find out we're not gonna be able to find funding, or it just came at the wrong time of the calendar year and we didn't know what our budget was going to be next year. So that's where you may get a hold, but you'll get a notification that there's a hold, and that's we want to be able to not just say no if there's some interest. All right. So this is what the first entry into the portal will look like. So you can see we're representing the, we're from around the world. There's people looking at our issues. And then we've put, well, Steve, we put red boxes on where we're saying you should click. So when you go there, if you click View Opportunities Now, then you'll go to the next page that says, these are the topics. And I'm going to let you take it here, Steve.
All right. Well, so yeah, basically we call this the funding opportunities page. But when you click on the opportunities, it's going to list, we just have it obviously at the top here, one of the topics, but it's going to list all 24 or 23 topics, I guess, as you're scrolling up and down. We do have some ability potentially to filter that down, if you're looking for a specific area. But one of the key things off of the portal, and I've used the word carrot, a diamond, whatever you want to call this little arrow right here that's very small and hard to see on the screen. That's where I think earlier you were talking about, the portal has more details. So when you look out on the solicitation and the announcement, it gives the topic description and the end objective, right? Hey, this is what we have out there for you to go and look at. But there are maybe some background information, the resources, some more information that we've also placed up for that topic in the portal. So it's under that little carrot. So when you expand it, it'll expand the page down and show you all that information on that page. So that way then, thank you, Dusty, for clicking on. Maybe I, got to get used to this, having an assistant. No, just kidding. But yeah, you can obviously see it even provides, the keywords that were on the filters above. But also it's, going to expand and hopefully show you a little bit better idea as to the dates involved. When the open date that you see on the topic is when that topic came out and was placed there, right? So actually what you'll see on this 24 is all the open dates are 6/18 because that's the new announcement when all the topics released to that. But then we'll have those close dates may change, and the page that we lift you to when you do the view opportunities is always going to be just the open and active ones. There is up in the ribbon bar a way to get back to, well, what were past topics and old topics, so old funding opportunities as well, but that are not going to be there on this initial page. So as the submission process goes, right, once you find your topic, you find hey, this is one I'm interested in, you're going to click the Submit Industry Engagement button as the first step, and that's when it's going to prompt you to log in. So hopefully everybody already here has an account set up in some fashion on the portal already that they would be able to just log in. It is a two-factor authentication. But you come to this screen, you can come to the screen directly and not go through a topic, but it's going to ask you to log in again when you hit the Submit Industry Engagement. I don't know if anybody's realized that when they've gone and, hey, I found a topic. Oh, I'm going to submit. Now I got to log in again. I know it's a little bit of a frustration, but it will ask you to log in every time you click that button. So you want to do that. You got to access the credential area by clicking the degree. Make sure that, I know you've all read the terms of service, right? And the privacy notice. But then when you log in, make sure, I guess that's what's also going to activate the new user option. So if you haven't been there before, it'll ask you for a lot of your company information. I would say utilize the stuff that you've already probably established via sam.gov, because you probably have an entity and information out there. Because one of the things, I don't know if we call it out later in a slide, when you get to, I think it's step 3, when you're in the submission, it is going to ask you for that UEI number from sam.gov. It's a required field. So you might want to make sure you get your sam.gov registration created as well.
They can do a temporary one, correct, in the meantime?
To create the company account, if you haven't been in there, you can generate a temporary number to at least do the create account, but you'll need it by that third step, the real account.
And just the reason that probably is a little bit more important is I understand if you don't have a sam.gov account, that it's taking a little bit longer than it used to actually get that fully set up. So
I think we're in. So this is just and imagine what you're seeing on screen, because we couldn't really do a live demo, is we're actually clicking through on the portal for you right on screen. So some of this is just an awareness of it is two-factor authentication. It's set up via your email address. So it's not one of those that, get the text message thing. So when you come into the portal, it'll go and say, what's the email address on account? go to your email, get the code, and then come back in. So I know some of the other services we all use, there's the text message or whatever, but this is just in the email. So when you click the Submit Industry Engagement button, the first prompt that you'll see after logging in is just, hey, confirming the solicitation and topic you've chosen, and then giving what's the name of what you're going to propose. That's the quick and easy, the quick and dirty to create your record, to be able to get more information to submit in the portal. So you would click on Save Proposal, and it's going to bring you to what we like to call the user dashboard. So something to kind of call out here in regards to questions we've gotten in the past. Every user has their own dashboard, and there is no company account that I can see all of the company's things. So if there's 5 of you at the company that have come into the portal and created an account, you're only going to see what you've submitted. You're not going to see what your workmates. Sorry, I'm trying to come up with the right word to be able to see that their information that they may have submitted as well.
And this is so the 2-factor authentication, and this is because we are making sure we're protecting the information you're putting into the system. So we don't have a way to verify that you work for a particular company. Obviously, if you submit false information and get a reward from the federal government, you're in trouble. So don't do that. But also, we don't know within a company if everybody is supposed to have access to particular information. So if you started under one person, that's the person that's got to carry that through. Sometimes people will, contact us and ask for a copy of the proposal. We should not be your source for where you're storing your files until you submit. So make sure you're understanding, where else you have this information and who has access to it in your company, because we are not going to give out your information to anybody that is not under your account.
So just a couple other things to kind of note here on this dashboard view, right, is you see more tabs than just LRBAA. This portal is used for other programs as well, as Dusty probably alluded to many times in the last panel about the SBIR program is also using this. But that TBAA is Targeted Broad Agency Announcements, is what that is actually standing for. So there are other, this is your user dashboard for any proposals you did to any of the programs, but it'll default you to the LRBAA proposals tab first once you do that submission. So in order to get that 3-page abstract and quad chart to us, right, after you've hit that submit, created your title, you're going to click on the work on tech proposal. Oh, and I'll just comment it. You saw that said delete submission there up in the front. Until you submit, you have the ability to, I want to delete this and not submit this. You have that ability, but once you submit, that ability goes away. So submit it in, and we'll track it that way. So that's why you kind of see it a little bit, in the front page. In the first step here in the industry engagement, there's, like I said, light lift even in regards to form data, hopefully, that we're gathering on the screen, right? There's some company information, some marketing materials, and a review and submit tab. So it's really only entering information on 2 tabs and reviewing that you've entered information on 2 tabs. You put that stuff in there and you would go and hit submit. So basically there'll be little stars, right? You've seen it all before, right? Required information, fill out the required information. And I think this is where the UEI number will come into play, that you can't go past this step without that. So then once obviously you've cleared everything up, you're going to want to make sure you're looking for green checks on that review and submit page. So if it was because in first stage you're going to upload 2 files basically, right? You're going to upload your 2 documents. If for any reason that you get to, hey, I want to complete and submit this in to us, if you don't have a green check there, the system's saying, hey, there's something wrong. You got some required information missing. Maybe we didn't get the file or whatever. So just double check for the green arrows, and then you would do the save and complete. And what will immediately happen then is it'll submit in a record into basically our office saying we got a proposal submitted to get it over to the topic team, the evaluation panel, as well as you'll get an email confirmation of submitting the information.
And so it's only going to do things like, hey, that box that needed information has information. Oh, that upload need was satisfied. There's an upload. It doesn't mean, yes, that is correct format and it's all acceptable. So sometimes folks will do more than a 3-page white paper because they're overachievers. But in the event of that, it will not go forward. So you must make sure that it's still incumbent upon you to make sure you're meeting the requirements and thresholds.
So this is just kind of, again, to the right is the screenshot you'll see when you hit the submit button that says, here's the information, and then just a copy of the, what you'll get also via email to confirm that the proposal, or we're calling the terminology on the portal proposal, but really it's your abstract has been submitted, your industry engagement was submitted in the first phase. So then, as Dusty alluded to in the, steps of the process, if you're recommended, encouraged, I can make sure with the right terminology, invited to virtual pitch. Part of the process of the evaluation team, now that they're getting the materials and reviewing it, they will basically send you an email communication back to the submitter saying, you've been invited to a virtual pitch, here's the date, time, and a URL. You'll get that via an email. Then you'll come back into the portal and it'll already have, if you can even kind of quickly see, it says not yet started. You'll already have this record there on your dashboard. So you'll know, oh, now I can go back into the portal and this is where I'm going to go and submit the materials needed for the virtual pitch meeting that I just got invited to. It's really key that you do this with the letter you'll get. It'll say, please do this, and you get 14 days, I believe it is, to submit those materials back. It will basically expire. There is a due date. It won't let you submit if you pass that. If you try on day 15, it won't let you submit anymore. So definitely, it's in the letter. It's on a due date on this screen here. Please make sure you're doing that, because it actually, the way the portal is developed and configured, it helps create those evaluation records and everything on our side to be ready for that meeting, and it gets the materials in the hands of the evaluators ahead of time, so they already have an idea as to maybe some questions they can think about before being in the meeting with you. So,
and you cannot have the meeting until it's submitted.
Right.
So you can't skip ahead.
Right. So again, you're going to hit the terminology very similar. Work on tech proposal to get into the form. There's one more extra tab in this one. So we ask for a point of contact in addition to the other tabs in the first stage. So look, we're trying to just keep you on your toes, ask for a little bit more information. But it's same kind of concept. Fill out all the required fields on all the tabs, upload your documents, and then submit the proposal. So this is kind of, here is, I guess we kind of, where my brain wasn't caught up with this email, but that's okay. This is the invitation, a copy of an invitation email should you successfully be encouraged to enter the written proposal step at the end of it. So again, we kind of talked about, you go through the submit, the evaluators are going to go and look at it. You're going to have your meeting. They're then going to go and provide you a notification after that meeting that says, we're encouraging you to go, and then you have 45 days from that date that they send the letter, right? So, depending on whatever they complete their evaluations, it'll be 45 days to go and submit the materials for the written proposal step. And now we get to some tabs for you, right? So yes, as Dusty kind of alluded to, right? You could get an on hold letter at that point, right? So there's nothing to do yet back in the portal. We're kind of just still waiting in the virtual pitch stage, because we put you on hold, you get that notification. But obviously writing up the proposal documents, and as well as all the information that we need to make sure is entered, there's more to do for the third step, right? So we want to make sure that we're really encouraging those that we're looking for information from. So I think that what it is, 8 tabs, is that the number we came up with, because the review and submit tab?
We're the details guy.
The submit button is on the review and submit tab, so I always go back and forth on, is that really an entry tab or is it just a review tab? So yes, same as the virtual pitch, when they invite you, the record will be created there for you already. So you just come back in, you'll hit the work on tech proposal, and then you'll come to the screen and fill out more tabs of information with your documents. So, and then this is where it gets a little tricky if you're in this step. So the tech proposal, right? The written 25-page paper is that first set of tabs, that first tech proposal button that you see. The cost proposal upload is another button. It is not in the review and submit. It's not in the supporting materials as it's designed right now. So we put up a warning like, hey, you've saved this. whether it's the check proposal or you've been in you can go to the cost proposal one first if you want and upload that document first. But when you save and complete on those proposal forms, you say, hey, double check that you didn't go and make sure you filled out the other form, because there's 2 forms to complete inside the portal with your information and documents before a green, if you click on the next one, oh, well, it's showing here there that it was incomplete. That was how the cost proposal looks. It's a very simple form, upload. Pretty simple, straightforward. Go ahead and next one. Yep. And so this is where I was just going to say, see now that green submit proposal button won't appear until you completed both of those forms. So this step is the only one that does the 2 forms to be able to do that. So you won't even see that submit proposal button until that's done. So we had incomplete, complete to kind of watch there. So that's why you get the further action needed, because you're not done yet. You still need to submit or complete another form to submit. This is, again, a screen view of, confirming that we've received your proposal, and the excuse me, evaluation team will be able to get a copy of it to begin their reviews. And I think that's it. That's actually a record for me, by the way. I just want to call that out. I am the details guy, and I could probably keep speaking for another 30 minutes before you want to all go to lunch, right? So.
Steve and I are a good balance on things like this. I tend to be very, very brief, and he tends to be very, very detailed. So that's why we were partnering this one. All right. So this is the last thing before lunch. I think we might be a little bit early, but that's not a bad thing given the timing.